Hey, hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about the Rog5. And the reason I'm making this video is just to, spread a little bit of awareness of the phone. And I'm also hoping that the next Rog will actually be more of a in-your-face kind of thing where you actually have a next generation where it actually feels like, yes, now it's worth buying. Because right now the Rog, as it stands, the Rog5, it kind of demonstrates that Asus is currently in an experimental phase where they don't really know where to head. They're trying different things and they just invest in a lot of things that just don't matter for a lot of people. And it's much more of a gimmick than actually, what you would want from a phone. And I'm going to talk about these things, and I'm also going to, at the end of the video, this is hopefully something Asus might actually look into. If they ever watch this video, they will get, this is basically your free ticket to having the quote-unquote best gaming phone. And to me as a person, I do play actually some video games on the phone. I'm not that much of a gamer on the phone, but I'm a very heavily competitive gamer, many years as well, on the PC. So I can definitely, a lot of things I could just take over to the phone. And I do actually play competitive games too. I don't play PUBG or anything like that, but I do play Wild Rift and COD Mobile. So keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about the Rog5 and my initial thoughts on it, and obviously some concerning things that I also felt like, had to be shared. Now, number one is the design, and this is highly subjective. Now, you can disagree or agree with me as much as you want. Personally, I don't dig the design aside from the fact that there's a white version. I like the white version. I'm a sucker for white. This is why my computer case is also white. But I feel the design is just reverting back to the things I did not like about the previous models. You see, the design here is just screaming gamer. And it just feels like a modern version of the Rog1. Now, if you look at the Rog1, you'll see, edges, lines, it's just really tacky and screaming, I'm a gaming phone, look at me. And this is also why I don't really like the whole RGB movement in the PC area either. It's just too much for me. And this is why I don't like the design mostly, because this is just too much. It doesn't look like I just don't like it. When I took the Rog3, the one thing that I really like about it is the actual design. And Linus also is one of those persons who also commented on the Rog3's design particularly, is when we look at the Rog3 here, what I really like about this is it's sleek and has a little bit of gamer things, but it's more, small details. It has this little line, which you can see, and then small lines there. And then the RGB, and obviously the most important part is the little window. Now, the little window, I'm a huge fan of. It kind of reminds me of my PC case at this point, where I have my case, but I have a window where I can look into it, where I can look into the cooling. And this is just beautiful. It also helps that the glass, I think it's because it's I do not know what they exactly did. I think it's because it's maybe rounded or something, where it actually has rainbow colors in it, while when the light will reflect, it'll actually have rainbow colors. And I just found it to be a really beautiful, beautiful detail to look at. If you look at this phone right now, you can see, okay, you can see the heatsink, see aerodynamic system with the two screws. It just looks nice. It looks solid. It's just I love this. This is the design I dig. Now with the Rog5, it's just, look at this. This line here, line there, here line, here edge there, and just like, look, I'm a fucking gaming phone. It just reminds me of the Alienware just in a phone form at this point. Not a huge fan of it. And the problem here is also that they really didn't think much about the design, because there's a display on the back, which you can see here. This is the ultimate version. The normal version just has an LED, and this is just a perfect demonstration as to how time restricted Rog5 was. For those who don't know, it actually got released relatively quickly compared to the development time of the phone, and it's quite clear they didn't think about it, because why would you put a display on the back on your phone? What's the purpose? A lot of people think, oh, this is so cool, this is innovative, and I'm like, it's not. It's stupid. It's dumb. Why would you put a display on the back of your phone? Seriously, why? For what purpose? How many people do you know? Think about it. How many people do you know who actually put their phone screen down on a table? That is just dumb. Who wants to scratch the screen like that? Because they're like, okay, I want to watch my fucking second display. There. Let the dust or whatever the hell is on the table ruin my screen. It's just stupid. I just don't understand the purpose of this, because everyone is putting their phone on their back for obvious reasons. They don't want to damage the fucking screen. They don't want fucking, ruining the screen protector or the actual screen or however, right? What's the purpose of the screen on the back? I just don't understand. It's so weird to me that it even exists. Why? I don't get it. So next, this is basically just going to be showcasing a lot of these gimmicks which nobody asked for, but they still put it in to, make the phone seem special, even though it's not. And this is also where I'm like, okay, if you had the reason it bothers me is because they could have invested, like, all these things they invested in, I don't know, this kind of gimmicky shit. They could have invested in something actually useful for the user, for the actual end user. This is why I'm going to proceed further and go to the next big problem the phone has, and that is durability. Now, if we look at the Rog5, this is a previous generation. I'm going to do a lot of comparisons to Rog5 because, well, it's a previous fucking generation. Now, if you look at here, you will also see the beautiful reflection on this, because I just love it that it does that. Look at this.
For Americans, that's about the equivalent.
See this rainbow effect? I love the rainbow effect. It's a small detail. It's not in your face. It's beautiful. However, let's look at the durability test from Jerry Everything.
Weight of a golf ball.
He presses it with all his might.
And the structural integrity matches that heavier weight, with almost no flex from the front or the back. The ROG Phone 3 survives my bin test.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting.
So, the Rog5, a fucking nice job there. It's goddamn durable. And as I have the phone right now in my hand, yeah, you could probably kill someone with this thing. It's seriously solid. I love it. And this is also the main reason I actually purchased it. Because I wanted a solid, stable, durable phone. Because I don't want to switch my phone every fucking year. I want to, have it for a long time. This is the main reason why I purchased it. Not only because it's durable, but I can also get replacement parts relatively easy. Aside from the battery, which for some reason I cannot get. But I can kind of forgive it, because when I look at the Asus website, actually getting the battery replaced, I felt was pretty much a steal at this point. I was just like, okay, wait, so a battery replacement from the Asus. I mean, I've looked at the replacement parts when you order them there. I'm not sure what conditions you have to have, but if I can see the battery costs around, I think it was around $15, then I'm like, yeah, I don't really care. I mean, if the whole repair will cost me, I don't know, let's say it costs me like $30 for shipping, repair, and all that, I don't care. Then I would not even, then honestly, I wouldn't even bother doing it myself, even though I could, because $30 for a battery replacement or something like that, maybe 40, I don't know, because of shipment. Denmark is pretty expensive. I would be totally fine with it, honestly. I would be absolutely fine with it. Also saves me a lot of work, and probably also, warranty on the battery if something goes wrong for some reason. So there, again, I'm not looking to, I mean, at least with Razer, they have, oh my god, they actually charge $300 when I asked them. Oh my fucking god. So, there's that. So overall, I really enjoy the Rog5 because of these things. Now, let's go ahead and see what the Rog5 has. Well, the title already is a spoiler alert, so yeah, here we go.
Which means that a gaming phone should be even more durable than a regular phone. And keep in mind during this bin test that I'm not even using all of my fingers right now. Unfortunately, with the very first bend, we see some pretty major cracking along the antenna line near the bottom half of the phone, and that small crack, for some reason, has catastrophically affected the internal vibrator, which now sounds more like a hissing cat than anything else. With another bend from the front, we lose the entire screen. At that same weak point, that antenna line, the Victus glass in the front is still intact.
And now when we look at the back, when he does it from the back, this happens.
This, of course, is not...
So if you bend it from the front, what happens? The antenna line will just basically crack. However, if you bend it from the back, this will happen.
Not an ideal situation. A phone without a screw down to the back, and try one more time. And right
as you can see,
there next to
here at the USB port, it actually breaks. So it has two weak points at the USB port in the middle, and then obviously on the antenna line. Now, it's not as catastrophic as the Lenovo Legion 2, and personally, The only thing that I'm really concerned about is the fact that I assume this one will probably have the same problems as the other phones. Now, a lot of people say, but this doesn't represent the reality. I mean, just because you can bend the phone, just because he doesn't, doesn't pass the durability test, that means that it doesn't matter because nobody does it to the phone. And I will answer with, it does matter a lot, actually. See, there's a lot of phones that just that just fail. Now, the perfect example, which a lot of people will bring up, is when talking about the iPhone particularly, because the iPhone 6 and 7 actually have both audio and touch IC problems. Because when the phone bends back and forth, and it's not about like forcingly bend it, it's about just using the phone. And because of the very, 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 very minor, flexing, right? You don't really see it with your eyes, but you flex it a little bit, just a little bit, back and forth, just a little bit. And because of that, you also flex the PCB, which will slowly crack the solder joints of these chips. So when that happens, the phone will at some point just, have one of these chips being disconnected from the board, like a little solder ball will be disconnected from the board, and boom, your phone has issues. Audio IC dead, touch IC dead. Now, on the iPad, for instance, perfect example there. The thing is bendable as I mean, Jesus Christ, that thing is really bendable. But because the entire device is as large as it is, and because of when you bend it, it doesn't really bend anywhere near the PCBs, you can bend the device and nothing will ever happen. I mean, I've seen people having a bent iPad and they were like, oh yeah, it's bent, I'm going to bend it right back. They can do that and it will not really kill a device or have any negative effects because it doesn't bend anything on the internal thing. Now, I'm not saying this is going 100% to happen. I can see this already at the PCB area, which is slightly concerning. However, what I'm mostly concerned about on this is the back glass. Now, you see, this gives me really horrible OnePlus 7T vibes. Now, a lot of people have the OnePlus 7T, and it's also a bendable phone like this. If you go ahead and watch Jerry Everything's video on the 7T, you'll see it also did not pass and has similar, it's similar to the Rog5. Now, what is the 7T? Well, OnePlus 7T. Now, we go ahead, we, glass crack. I mean, this is very, very, yeah, very, 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 very problematic because I watch my OnePlus crack in my hand. And this is what happens a lot. And this is also because of the whole bending thing. Now, if we go to the OnePlus forum, this is basically instantly proving that this is actually a problem because of the bending. You can see this, right? Where is the position of the crack? Well, it is right here under the camera. Well, let's proceed. Oh, right under the camera, another guy. Let's proceed. Oh, right under the camera. You can see there's no coincidence that this is at the same fucking spot because it's happening because of the bending nature of the goddamn phone. And because of this problem, I assume that the Rog5 will have similar issues when it comes to the durability of its glass at the very least. So there I am not, very happy about this. Let's just say it like that. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is the obvious, look at this. This is amazing audiophone. And everyone is every audiophile is going to tell you this right off the bat. They're not going to use this. They are not, it's not going to fucking replace their Theo players or whatever they're using. It just isn't. It's not, audiophiles have a certain standard this phone could possibly not even fucking drive, okay? There have headphones where you would never want to use it on a phone like this. It's all marketing gimmick again. All they did was just, in order to make a substantial increase in audio quality, you would actually have to not only replace the fucking DAC chip, but you would also have to make the output phase of the fucking DAC considerably better than previous generation. Because that is the one that will dictate the actual, audio quality and profile which you will be able to perceive with your ears. And guess what? There's not a huge difference, if any at all. There's no way users will notice a difference between the ROG 2, like the ROG 1, 2, 3, and 5. They're just not going to. The chip is it's objectively better, yes, but there's no, you can't really do anything with it if your fucking output is not on par. And this only makes sense because you cannot cram that much audio quality into the phone unless you focus most of your space to do that. And this is why you have something like a Marshall London phone. It has horrible specs and basically no camera, but most of it is dedicated just for audio files, hence the better audio quality. So in the end, again, it's just a gimmick. It's just, yes, we have this ESS Sabra fucking DAC chip in our phone. It's there, but it's not exactly a huge improvement. So again, money spent into the wrong fucking things. Again, next problem, thermal throttling. Now the Rog5 has some severe, okay, not severe, I wouldn't say severe, but it has thermal throttling. Now a lot of people just take the Rog5 and for some reason, you know, make a CPU stress test and be like, look, the phone is not throttling. To me, that was always the most confusing part because I'm like, okay, but if you play game like Genshin Impact, you use both the GPU and CPU, meaning your chip gets considerably hotter. So why only test the CPU? I never understood why people do that. This is the Rog5 with the cooler. You can see the cooler on it. It's attached to it. And it still does not have very stable frames compared to the Red Magic 6. Well, if you look at the, you know, teardowns, it should be pretty fucking obvious why. Because the Red Magic 6 obviously has a more sophisticated cooling solution. This is where I feel Asus, I mean, I'm 100% sure if they had more time, they would have made they would actually have solved the cooling solution. I'm absolutely sure they could have done it, but they just didn't have enough time. So they kind of went with this, which is kind of weird because what they did was, as far as I can tell, they had a vapor chamber in front and a vapor chamber on the back. And the vapor chamber has contact with the backplate via, I think there was this thermal tape or thermal, I don't know what the fuck that is. Some black shit, which is not very conductive apparently. So at there I'm like, I mean, I guess, but it's not really a good idea because, I mean, obviously it doesn't work as well as it should. Again, this is just where I feel Asus, I mean, again, time restraints, and I'm gonna get into why they actually had time restraints and why they decided to release the phone, because there's actually a good reason for it, why they did it, and why it was, from a marketing perspective, kind of a good idea. But as for the user, for the user base, it's just bad. So as you can see here, this is just a comparison, and as you can see, the frames are way more stable on Red Magic 6, and this is simply because of a throttling issue. So yeah. Now let's go ahead and talk about the display, because a lot of people think that, oh no, Rog5 using Samsung display, that magically fixes all the problems. I think the entire OnePlus 8 Pro community literally just jumped off their fucking seat and screamed, "Don't believe it!" Because they all have Samsung displays, and guess what? They're not very happy with it. See, this is a comparison between ROG 3 and OnePlus 8 Pro. Now, granted, this is a calibrated ROG 3. It's not a standard one. This is with my custom kernel, so don't take this one to one exactly, because I actually don't know how bad the normal one is. But as you can see here, now aside from the typical issues that this particular display has, like green tint, it even shows it on the bottom. I think this is more of a hardware defect. I don't think every single model has this issue where there's actual green line on the bottom. But however, there's some severe problems with color banding. They, call it black crush for some reason, even though it's not. It also has some black crush to some extent. Then here's a new issue that I have discovered, because I never owned actually a OnePlus 8 Pro. I actually have a guy who took these pictures for me to compare it. And I noticed that the Pixelworks visual processor is a pile of shit. When you look at this picture, what the hell do you notice? Oh, yes. You notice that the one from the OnePlus 8 Pro is significantly more blurry than the one on the ROG 3. So why is this happening? Well, it seems that the chip is somehow trying to interpolate your frames. So it's basically similar to when you try to, take a 25 FPS clip and just upscale it to 60, and then this kind of happens. I think it's something along the lines of that. I'm not entirely sure what's going on, but I could tell that this is probably not caused by the motion engine, because he turned it on and off on the phone, and it was still a blurry mess. And it's not only this video. I actually asked him to do multiple videos, and it's consistent. The OnePlus 8 Pro is consistently more blurry than the Rog5. Now, I've also gotten someone to test it on his Oppo Find X2, which also has the visual processor, and again, blurry. So this also led me to believe, okay, wait, so because the Rog5 also now uses the display processor, because the Rog3 used only the Pixelworks software solution instead of the hardware, the Rog5 actually uses their visual processor, which is an actual hardware part. So this is basically not fixable from my perspective, for instance. I asked someone to make a video of this, scene, and this is what we got. So already, yeah, I mean, yeah. I just paused this. Did you notice how this antenna is just gone? Yeah, it's happening again. It's blurring out certain things. It's basically the equivalent of having permanent motion blur on. And it's really problematic because sometimes the display doesn't really know what is what is a detail, what is background. It just cannot really tell. Now, if I keep on going, you can see, oh, the antenna is now back, but this one has now disappeared. Now we go a little further, and again, it's gone. This one is blurred out here on top too. It's not doing a good job right now, is it? Now, again, when going away, because now the crab is in motion, you can see that both antennas are just gone. They're blurred, they're merged into the background. The entire background is blurred. Now, yeah, you'll have some significant blurring issues here again. It's just not good. And if I go further to this scene here, you could actually see when, when she's riding the horse, and you can actually see significant motion blur and blurring around her. This is just bad, especially because you could get away with, this would actually have a positive effect on let's say really slow screens where, and users who don't really, who don't really have that great of eyes, I guess, or at least not the eye for the high frames. Now, if your target group is gamers and you put on permanent motion blur on basically everything, then they will not be very happy with it, now will they? Because as we fucking know, the most common setting to turn off is motion blur. Big fucking shocker at this point. I don't understand why they would do this. Why? I mean, ASUS has done so many things already in the past where with Pixelworks where I'm like, okay, this has never worked out. So why spend more money? Why give Pixelworks more money to fuck up your things even further? Because with the Rog5, it was I mean, the calibration claims were obviously bullshit. GSM Arena has made a review on it and already showcased like, okay, yeah, this is. I mean, it's pretty decently calibrated, we guess, but it's nowhere near the claims that ASUS have. So yeah. Again, most reviewers obviously they say, "Oh, it's a great screen. It's fantastic." Meanwhile, Rog5 users being salty about the color banding issues because reviewers are so useful. Again, I mean, I don't understand. I just don't get it. Is nobody quality testing this? This is my question. Now, again, the next thing, again, fucking huge problem is this USB temperature warning. Now, Rog2 users and Zenfone 6 users are very familiar with this one. Now, the problem here is that this is usually not a good sign. Again, I'm not saying this is going to 100% happen, but I predict it's probable. It's very probable. It's an educated guess that the Rog5, after roughly a year, will probably start dying left and right, same as the Zenfone 6 and Rog2 are doing, based on this error alone. See, the Rog2 dies because of the PM8510 chip that just dies. It's a power IC. Yeah. I mean, black screen, flickering, bad. Meanwhile, the Zenfone 6, while, it doesn't flicker, it just gets a blue screen and it's dead forever. Yeah, so these are very common issues, and both phones are kind of now, starting to dial left and right, even though the Rog5 is in a clear lead at this point. Considering that the Zenfone is not really being used as a gaming phone, it also makes sense, but I predict that maybe another 6 to 8 months, you will see more and more Zenfone 6 dying too. And if I see this warning already, which I've never ever seen on my Rog3, and I've done, emulation on it via pass-through and God knows what, and I've never seen this particular warning anywhere on the Rog3 subforum, I am quite concerned about this as well, about the durability of the phone, which, the solution to this topic is obviously hilarious. It's like, okay, yeah, you want to get it, just put the settings down. I mean, great. You buy a gaming phone because you cannot use the full potential on it, because it'll overheat and give you this error. It's fantastic. I don't know what to say. It's perfect. Perfect solution. Just don't use it as a gaming phone. Just put down the settings. Act as if it's a normal fucking phone. I don't know. To me, again, strange. I mean, users just like to accept this. I mean, I kind of get it. People don't want to admit they bought something that is possibly not great. If you spend this much money, because most of them are, Asian people who just, this is their one device. They don't have PCs. They don't have all the things that other people have. This is going to be their main device for everything, for media consumption, for gaming, for everything. And you spend a lot of money, and then just to hear that you may have purchased something that just will fuck you over, you don't like the thought. So you kind of just, you have one of two things. Either you kind of have to get rid of it as fast as possible, and or just get warranty, like return rights or whatever, or you just tell yourself, no, it's fine, it's gonna be fine. You just ignore it. You try, a lot of people take the second because they dig the design or whatever, and they're just like, I'm happy with this, I think. And then when it breaks, then they're gonna be really salty. That's when all the salt will start. So yeah, overall, the Rog5. Personally, I don't like it. I think design is too tacky. Issues already told, or meh. The features, the display, very meh. As a competitive gamer who really doesn't like motion blur, to me that's already a huge problem. And I'm not even talking about how the display has some severe black crush issues, or at least from what I have seen. I don't know if they fixed it or not. I mean, I've seen early samples. I don't know, maybe they have done something. I don't own the phone right now, for obvious reasons too. I don't want it. But overall, these are the things you should probably know before buying the Rog5. So this last bit where I kind of just give my actual thoughts about it, and obviously explain really quickly to people, because a lot of people are like, okay, but if it's so not well thought out, why you even release it this early? Well, the reason for that is very simple, because of the Snapdragon 888 release. See, the thing ASUS wants is the title of quote-unquote the fastest phone. And a lot of people still giving it to it, even though the Red Magic 6 is objectively faster, so that in itself is just weird. But the Rog5 just wants to keep, like, the actual Rog wants to have the quote-unquote fastest phone. Now, if you release the phone very late, what will happen is another phone already claimed the title of being the fastest, and you don't get as much marketing anymore. This is why they hurried up releasing this phone. Now, is it good for the consumer? Obviously not. It's obviously not good for the consumer. It's good for the company, I guess, until the consumer shit on them for, basically the same reason they're shitting on the Rog2 and having threats with lawsuits. But here's also my my thoughts, what they should have done, and hopefully will do for the next phone. Get rid of all the gimmicks. The whole ESS Zapper, the Pixelworks bullshit, the Samsung panel, and nobody cares, honestly. If the panel looks great, it looks great. It's that simple. I don't care. I mean, honestly, from experience, I can tell that unless a Samsung panel is inside a Samsung phone, it's not going to be great. So just go get a good fucking panel. Like the Rog3, it has a perfectly good panel. Invest more resources in actually calibrating the panel, just like I did. I mean, with my Rog3, just calibrate this thing. It'll look great. Problem solved. then don't spend money in a second fucking display. Don't spend money in some, stupid audio DAC chip. I don't even care about the headphone jack. I think it's super overrated. Honestly, I prefer actually having a Type-C connection for my headphones, because this phone has two Type-Cs. So I don't really see any reason why you would have a headphone jack, especially because the headphone jack kind of introduces two major problems. Number one, if your headphone ever breaks off, that thing is going to be stuck in there, and you kind of have to, get to the service center and just, have a new headphone jack into it. And yes, a lot of people will now say, but that never happens. And you would be surprised. You'd be super surprised. Number two, because of the fact that you kind of make it longer because the most pressure you put on your headphones is actually on the end part, which you stick in, where you have this little, the cable coming out from the bottom there. That is the part that breaks the most. Now, if you have a Type-C converter on it, right, you don't put as much stress into it, making your headphones last a lot longer. And then the new pressure point will actually be at the Type-C dongle. And replacing a dongle, I would rather replace, my Type-C dongle for, I don't know, 20 cents than, my fucking expensive ass in-ear headphones. So just a thing that I want to point out here. I honestly think the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack is absolutely fucking overrated, to the point where it's almost ridiculous. But some people might disagree. I do not know. As long as the audio DAC is within the phone, obviously. I don't like the same solution the Razer phone has, where you actually have to have a heavy fucking audio DAC on the stupid adapter, the dongle itself. That I hate. I want it to be integrated in the phone like the Rog5 and 2. So that is what I would expect. Now, the next thing I really want Asus to focus on is just, God damn it, Asus, just upgrade the camera. Seriously, you cannot tell me that you could not have upgraded the camera. I mean, if you had not done the display shit, if you had not done the ESS Sabre chip, if you had not spent money in the Pixelworks blurring your screen, you could have gotten better cameras in that phone. 100%. I honestly feel that, because a lot of people are like, but it's not as important. It's a gaming phone. Yeah, it's still a huge thing to go for. If you are the only gaming phone, literally the only gaming phone with actual good cameras, you have a really strong case. You could say, look, we are, we are a gaming phone, but we have a good camera too. Nubia, Black Shark, and Lenovo have no chance suddenly, because that's something they simply don't have. I don't get why this is not a thing. I mean, there are a lot of gamers who kind of like having, an actual good camera. The next thing, which I also think they should invest in, is this rollout camera, which the Lenovo Legion phones have. There are a lot of people who would like to stream mobile games, and having a webcam of some sort is a huge deal. I mean, wow. Having a camera like now on the side is just weird. It's not very great for those type of gamers. The next thing I really feel should have been a thing also is maybe make, like you did in the past with the Rog5, with Qualcomm, a certain deal where you get certain hand-picked chips and optimize them. Get them optimized. Get them fucking I don't care about as a gamer, I don't care about performance. I don't care about the peak performance. What I care about is consistent performance. The Rog5 right now will basically perform better than most Snapdragon 888 phones, simply because when they start to thermal throttle, even though they may have higher frames per second, their frame times are pretty fucking garbage because of the fluctuation in clock speeds. If I have a phone that is consistent, that will have consistent clock speeds, I will have a more fluid gaming experience. A huge selling point. It's not about peak performance. It's not about hey, look, I can have the highest score in a benchmark. I mean, what is that going to do for me as a gamer, right? It's not going to do anything for me. And also, if you go with the route with not going for the highest performance, but more of an optimized route, you also have the huge advantage of having long battery life. You see, when I play Wild Rift, for me, it's not important to have highest frames. It's about having time, not having to, if I want to take the train, for instance, I don't have an outlet nearby, I want to be able to play the game, let's say 5 hours, because that's how long it will take. That would be for me a huge selling point when, compared to now, when you look at the Rog5 in terms of battery life, it's pretty bad due to the Snapdragon chip itself. I really feel that there could have been some special agreement there where they could have, made more optimizations, because when I look at the Rog3 with the Snapdragon 865 Plus, that thing can be undervolted on the GPU quite a lot. We talk a lot of undervolting, which again improves battery life. I can definitely play a lot. I can play noticeably longer on Wild Rift while also enjoying my phone, just doing basic things, because I've set down the clock speeds lower on minimum 2, so I don't notice any performance difference in terms of low usage, but I notice battery difference. Again, it's a huge deal having battery life. And these are the things I really feel like Asus could focus on. Things people care about: battery life, camera, maybe even water resistance, maybe even wireless charging. The good stuff. Not some, look, I got this chip in my phone, but is it practically different, like massively huge? Is there any fucking huge difference? No. What's the point then? You see, this is what I'm talking about when I'm looking at a phone. I'm talking about a more practical, instead of just saying, look at these numbers, look at this, being able to say, well, take the phone, play Genshin Impact, compare them side by side. Which one do you feel is more fluid? And they'll be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. They will look at the average frame rates. I'll be like, okay, the frame rates are lower on the Rog5, but fuck me, it's fluid. What is going on? It's all these things which gamers really care about, which I don't. It's the same with the whole this gimmicky fucking bullshit as, look at this, I have 165 hertz OLED screen, which has severe ghosting, and everyone's like, PC gamers just look at it and be like, no, fuck this garbage. I mean, we already used to actual, we already are we're already far past the whole fucking ghosting issues, while the phone already starting to have it. I really feel that Asus could have focused on more of these things that actually practically matter for the user. Get a good panel, doesn't have to be expensive, just a good one. Calibrate it. Get a processor, optimize it. It's same with the cooling solution. If you could, and this is also something that I really feel Asus should also look into. It's much like the Red Magic. I don't want to have to put a fucking external cooling on my phone. I get it from a marketing perspective, it makes sense because money, but from a user consumer's perspective, it's just annoying to have that piece of plastic back on your goddamn phone, especially if you have a cover like mine. Now, luckily with the undervolts I made on the Rog3, I can play on my phone without the cooler at max settings, no problem, thanks to the efficiency. Again, huge point. If you do more efficient work on the actual processor, and this will require teamwork with Qualcomm, because as far as I know, the 888 is pretty much locked. You cannot do anything about it unless you are, you have some development tools that somehow changes that. Then there's that. I mean, this is just these things which I feel the Rog6 should probably go for. And obviously, please make the design more Rog3 like. If you would make a style much reminiscent of the Rog3 with white, that would already be fucking nice. If you actually want to go full on, you want to make people happy, take the rainbow glass from the Rog3, make it fucking transparent. That thing will sell like hot potatoes. Trust me, when it comes to being able to see your hardware inside, we gamers, we have this fucking glass on our cases for a reason. We like looking at this. We like looking at inside. So there, you could also have maybe a really good idea there. We have been asking for a transparent glass cover on many phones across God knows how what. This is actually something we care about. So yes, I hope the Rog6 will be more of a, well thought out device. I hope it'll focus on things gamers actually care about. I really hope that Asus is going to actually, a true gaming phone where everyone's gonna be like, yeah, this is it. This is the only one to buy. Don't even go for anything else. I mean, this is really what I hope Asus is gonna do, and we're gonna see if it's going to be more of a these lazy sell thing, like sell fucking annoying things like motion blur to gamer. The fact, oh god, the fact that it's a thing just bothers me. God damn it, just having permanent motion blur on my phone, even watching YouTube. Oh, I'd fucking, oh, no. No, 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 no. Hell no. No, thank you. Oh. So yeah. I hope you learned something, and I seriously hope that Asus is going to release a phone that's actually worth buying. Until then, hope you learned something.